11 of Rational Romantics. Today, we are continuing our deep dive of An Offer from a Gentleman, Benedict and Sophie's book. We are covering chapters 6 through 10 if you are reading along with us, and we are so excited to talk all things Offer from a Gentleman and then to update you on the Bridgerverse. So, Deb, let's dive in.
Let's dive in. I'm so excited for when I was reading this section of the book, I was like, whoa, I didn't realize we'd be into these parts so soon. Like, obviously, I know these parts are in the book, but I was like, we're already there. So, these are some heavy chapters. So, I'm very excited to get through it. But yeah, let's dive into these little crumbs that we got from the Bridgerverse.
Yeah, well, and before I forget, just because I want to mention with the book, I do want to offer up a trigger warning where they head into this episode that it does contain discussions of attempted sexual assaults throughout, and we will be diving into that topic health first, and we love you and we're here for you. So with that, let's talk about some tidbits because I mean I feel like we got to start with Claudia Jessie. So Claudia giving us some crumbs.
Sorry, you said tidbits. I heard timbits. And I was like, what? Tidbits. Sorry, never
I'm gonna
mind.
enunciate very strongly tidbits. Sorry, my ASMR is not flexing today.
It's okay. I think it's a me problem. But yeah, Claudia Jessie gave us a lot of crumbs. I'm definitely without knowing it. She's not on social media. She just lives her life, and I guess she just got caught in a picture, and what she was wearing was very suspicious, we'll say.
Yeah, so there was a shot of Claudia wearing what is just almost certainly a Bridgerton set jacket. So it's got Bridgerton season 4 embroidered on it. It's got a little mask, like a little cartoony mask embroidered as well. So that was super fun to see. I know lots of people have said that they thought maybe it was like a wrap gift because usually what happens when a production finishes is they all give either the cast members give each other gifts, the production gives the cast gifts, yada yada, all the things. I don't think that's the case because it is from a movie that she was filming, I believe, back in March. So that exists back then. I don't think it's a wrap thing, but it's definitely from the production and from the set. So
It could be a gift to start filming
yeah,
preemptively, like, look at where you're at. This is the jacket you're going to be nice and cozy in because it's cold on the set. We're filming in the fall and winter. It could have been at the beginning. So, I mean, there's really no other explanation for there being season 4 and a mask on. Like, it's obviously from Bridgerton. Um, but do we run with the fact that, like, that means she's wrapped? Not necessarily. It's just nice to see that she's out in the wild repping some Bridgerton season 4 stuff, which is really cool.
yeah, exactly. And I was trying to find the movie name is something I cannot pronounce. It looks maybe possibly German. I don't know. But the director is Cole Edwards, so I did want to shout that out. I believe it's a short film, so be looking out for that when Claudia can release it.
Amazing. Amazing. But we did get, on the flip side, not so much a tidbit, maybe a full timbit. We got basically a full article confirming that we have a new character on set for Bridgerton season 4 and a whole new, brand new actress. And that is really exciting.
Yes, we have Gracie McGonagall, who that's the maid that we keep seeing with Sophie in all the stills, all the promos. She's there, and we've known that that's Gracie for a while. We hadn't really gotten a formal introduction to her. We didn't even know her name. But now we have the details, we have a character description, and it's so exciting.
It is so exciting. I yeah, I remember seeing her beside Yaren Han that kind of preview BTS video, and I was like, "Who are you?" You look like a little maid BFF bestie. That's so cute. And like, obviously we get these looks, but not always the whole story behind it. So it's really cool to see that that she's part of the cast and that there's a lot more behind this than we might expect because she is bringing a lot of inclusivity in Bridgerton because she has a congenital limb deficiency. There's
Bridgerton is so good at really highlighting all of those diverse pieces for everybody, whether that is through ethnicity, through different abilities and disabilities. And it's just wonderful to see Bridgerton not only highlight, but truly celebrate all those aspects that make us all individuals and all so beautiful and amazing. So the maid's name is Hazel. And we got a few details about her from her character description. She's a young maid who has faced a difficult path, but she remains lively, full of energy, and quick to form friendships despite her challenges. So that makes a ton of sense with that she would connect very immediately to Sophie.
yeah, it's really it makes sense that they would be friends. And I've been seeing this little theory swirling around that maybe Hazel is the one who may end up with Footman John because we love a downstairs story. So Hazel and Footman John, we got to think of the couple's name because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Han? Jazel. Jazel, I like.
Hazel.
It's Jazel.
It's gonna be Jazel. It's a little inappropriate if you say it too fast, but yeah, we're just gonna, it just sounds weird.
Or is it Faisal because he's Footman John and Footman is his first name to
Oh,
the
that's
fandom?
true. That's true. His legal name is Footman John. So
It is. Check his
Hazel,
birth certificate. Footman John.
it's not John. Not for the foreseeable future. So very
Yeah.
exciting. So welcome to Gracie. And we can't wait to see more of you.
It's so cute. I actually talked to her mom today. Her mom shared my video to her stories and was like, "This fandom is so lovely," and like all the things, whatever. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And so I talked to her and was like, "We're so glad to have her." And she's like, something. It was so cute. I was like, "Oh."
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're her teachers or something. And we're like, oh, she's been so great. Like, so lovely to have her.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, Deb, I think it is about that time. Do you want to dive in to An Offer from a Gentleman, chapters 6 through 10?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because, whoa, whoa, that was intense. Chapter 6 is where we begin. Where we left off was, I mean, she had to get away. Long story short, she was kicked out of the house. Airmont had kicked her out. She needed to find somewhere to go, and she's thinking, I'm going as far as I can away from London, right? So then we start at chapter 6, which is set 2 years later, which is a very interesting place to start this episode because I feel like one of the biggest questions we have for season 4 is, are we going to see a time jump? So that's exactly where we're picking up here. And I don't know, do we want to talk about that? Because,
I mean, I think we
yeah.
gotta.
Yeah.
The source that we have talked to has said he's not aware of a time jump. So that doesn't necessarily, just given his role, not necessarily meaning that there isn't one, like there could be. But there's not like a guaranteed one. I go back and forth. I feel like if there's going to be a time jump, it'll be from like the beginning. So like the Masquerade Ball is the beginning of the next season, like following Pollen's, like the next season after them. And then maybe Benedict spends the whole season searching for her and is like, okay, I did all this. I searched this whole time. And now it's the fall. Now it's winter of that same year. And maybe he's like, okay, I'm done. I'm quitting. And he goes out to the country. So it would have been like 4 or 5 months and not 2 or 3 years. That would be my guess on like some kind of a time jump. Because I feel, but but maybe I'm totally wrong. Like maybe they'll jump a couple years in the future, and that could help with aging up Hyacinth. That could help with, I mean, certainly getting us to have enough time in a marriage with Francesca to lose John. So I think a time jump could be very possible. So I don't know.
Yeah, I am 100% on board with what you said. That's what I've been theorizing too. I think we're just gonna have a season of time jump. Like he's just gonna start off the season masquerade, end up in the fall, and be like, you know what, whatever. And that that's just like the most time jump I think that we're gonna get is just spring to fall because I just there's too many stories to build out to skip years. So
Yeah.
I feel like they won't, but who knows? We never know.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's good to make sure that we have enough time for him to come in with, because it says on 104 that he was just bored, right? Like Benedict is just done. He's had all the experiences, he's done all the things. And so I think it's good if we give him enough time to make sure that he can feel like he's ready to move on and ready to settle down and ready to have a different relationship than he was ready for a year ago, a year and a half ago, whatever it'll be, within the timeline. So I like them giving him some time, but I don't know that it has to be 2 or 3 years to justify that. I think it could be a few months, and that would be fine.
I agree. I feel like the first three seasons was like the time for him to get all these things out of his system. And it was very, they were very mindful about when they placed his season, when he would be ready to kind of settle down and figure out what he wants. So, yeah, I think that makes total sense. So he says that he was just bored in like this setting that he's often found himself in. He's at a party, he's away from home, and he's surrounded by, people literally gambling, drinking, being crazy, and he's just like, I'm over it. He's really giving like a 35-year-old like at a party and being like, okay, it's 9 o'clock. Like, I'm just gonna Irish goodbye. Like, I'm just done with all of this. I'm too old for this. And he's just like, I'm out of here. So, but then we suddenly get to know somebody who I really, really hate. I don't even want to say his name. He's almost like he who must not be named, you know?
I just had the most random thought, but like, I mean, why would Benedict be at that party? But I guess if he got drugged to it by a friend. But like, what if this is like Nigel Bearbrook's house? Because he got sent off to the country. Not that there can only be one bad guy in Bridgerton, but like, wouldn't that be a wild Easter egg? Like, where it turns out it's his house and his party. Like,
Because we do love to hate him too.
mm-hmm,
He was our first hate on Bridgerton, right?
mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be really interesting. I don't know that I want to see him again, but
Yeah.
maybe he's better than Philip Cavender because Philip
Ugh.
Cavender in this book, he's just disgusting. Oh my gosh, I hate him, and I did like a little scribble, hard scribble, because I was just like, I don't like him. I have no place to write, but I just gonna scribble anger. Because what a
Yeah.
dick. What a dick. Ugh.
Yeah, no, he's the worst. That's what, so my little tagline for this was I was like, I have fewer notes but stronger feelings for this section.
You're so
'Cause,
good with these one-liners. You're so good.
thanks. I'm like,
You're
I
so
I hate
smart with
this
you.
dude.
Hmm. Hmm.
And poor Sophie. Like, we finally get back into her perspective on 106. Because Benedict is trying to get his ass out of the party. Like, he's just done. And Sophie is also trying to get her ass out of the party. She is also just done for very different reasons. But I'm like, poor girl. Can she not catch a break? I don't even. Poor girl.
I know. I know. And it's like what I really do like about her or the way that this chapter is written out is that the same thing is just being the same scene is being repeated but in different point of views, and there's like so much like suspense in between these two kind of perspectives because they keep like the call that we that helps place us in every situation. Sorry. Okay. My team just scored.
Good or
Okay,
bad?
sorry.
Good. Okay.
Sorry, sorry,
Guys,
sorry.
in case this needs to get left in the episode, Deb is watching her hockey team because she is the most Canadian person I know, and they are on the verge of elimination, so you do not understand. So she has to have the score up.
It's 3-2. Okay?
Ooh,
In case anybody
wow.
cared.
Sizzling up for a hockey game. That's a high score.
Well, yeah, it's really bumping. Whew, okay. Anyways, we hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's just what I'm gonna leave it at. Okay, thank you
Woohoo!
so
I'm
much.
with you.
Yeah,
I don't care. So
hate
for you.
them. Hate them. Okay,
I'm here for you.
but yeah, okay, so anyways, so the one line that helps place us in both point of views, and I highlighted, I just feel like it's going to be like, it's just when he calls out Bridgerton, and he's like, oh, Bridgerton, and that's what triggers her, and that's kind of the catalyst for him that's gonna like shift his whole entire like life essentially. So it's I feel like it's so well written, this chapter, and very suspenseful in the most impeccable way. So but yeah, things are escalating super quickly, and I'm very stressed for our girl. But first off, I'm just glad that she's leaving.
Yeah.
Good for
Yeah.
you, girl. She picked up, she's leaving. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, and it really makes me question just as a whole. So basically, she has spent this whole time running away from men at this party who are trying to assault her. That's just, I mean, that's, what it is. And, she talks about that, oh, it's not worth her virtue and everything. And I think it's hard because just as a whole, I don't want this in the show. I do not want this level of violence toward her. I don't want this level. I have a problem with rape in shows being used way too much anyway as like a threat and everything. Because I'm like, we have fantasy costumes and all the things and whatever. Can we just live in a world where this doesn't happen to women? Even though like Bridgerton has had that before, I would rather we just didn't. I will say, I think that the purpose that this serves within the story, and I wrote it as a note, but I said that, like, the averted rape is to make sure that we know Benedict is different, even though the character of Benedict in the book sometimes has some sketchy characteristics. In the show, I think we can just avoid all sketchiness with Benedict. And so I think we don't need a scene that makes it clear that he's not like the other guys, because I think it will just be clear he's not like the other guys from the beginning. So I think that the purpose for this scene is not necessary in the show. So I'm hoping we just leave it.
I agree. I agree. I just dislike it so much, and we could do without.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that is, again, like you say, the only reason it's in the book is to accelerate our understanding that Benedict is different. So we know that. We know that. We love Benedict. We know he's a good guy. Okay. We just don't need this. So hopefully that is the case, because it just goes on for a really long time on what might be happening to her, her internal dialogue, on her kind of panicking and realizing, okay, well, now Benedict Bridgerton is here. Is he just as bad as them? Like, what is happening? But quickly we jump into seeing Benedict standing up for her. And if there's anything that I do like about this whole chapter, is the way he's just so, like, quick on saying, like, she doesn't seem to like it. So, you know what? If she says she doesn't like it, she's gonna come with me and I will find her a job, and you're just gonna go fuck yourself. So, and I highlighted when Cavender says she likes it just fine enough for me anyway, and Benedict's like, but not for me.
Yeah. One, I think it underscores too the it hits home that thing of like Sophie being a housemaid and her air quotes place and the way that she is viewed in this society. And so it does help thematically in that way to really remind everyone involved just how what the gap is between her and Benedict, just how like impossible and forbidden and crazy that this relationship ends up being. So it does that. I think that there are other ways to communicate that. So I don't think but like it does do that as well. Um, and I do like as a fairy tale story, having a guy ride in and save a girl. Like, there is nothing wrong with a guy standing up. In fact, this is what we ask men to do. We ask them to hold other men, even their friends, accountable for their bad behavior. So I like
Hmm.
that we see that. I just want it to be not quite this brutal because it really is very triggering. Like, it's a very upsetting scene. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, but then quickly, there's a lot of actually I do want to point out something on 112 that made me laugh. And I actually wrote LOL and I drew a hot air balloon because it made me laugh. Because there's this part where he says, I don't want to fight you, but I will, and I can assure you that the 3-1 odds don't frighten me. And I'm like, says the guy who couldn't even like pull the balloon, ripped his pants. And I'm like, I don't think that's true, but whatever. So, and I literally drew a hot air balloon. I was like, lol.
I love that so much. We go a little, maybe a little overconfidence there, Benny, but you know. Um,
Gotta fake it till you
so
make it.
exactly. Um, so I think so I had my worst moment with Benedict in this scene. And I was gonna say it might be the worst moment in the book, but spoiler alert, it's not gonna be. But I wrote what the fuck on my page, because on 113, so he says, Miss Beckett, he continued, would you be so kind as to answer the following question? No, she burst out. You're not going to answer? He asked, his eyes amused. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, like, you're what, teasing her about how quickly she says the word no, that she doesn't want to be gang raped? Like, I was not a fan, and I don't think it's actually I don't know that it's Benedict I'm criticizing here. I think it's the writing. I think that that's actual my criticism. But I'm like, if you're gonna put this scene in here, I need it to be serious. I need it to be taken serious. I need the gravity of this
True.
to be taken
True.
seriously. And it really pissed me the fuck off. Anyway, so I had to get that off my chest.
Well, I'm glad that something did piss you off because I don't know. It might be the next chapter, but yeah, I think it's at the next chapter where I put like a bunch of question marks and I was like, "Are we okay with this?" Something that Benedict does. So we'll get to this equally frustrating moment on my end very soon. But I hear you. I hear you. It's not the best because it's not funny. It's not funny. And he just, yeah, he comes into this like with his internal dialogue being like, fuck, I gotta go. I gotta go over there and I gotta see what's going on. Is she having fun or not? You know? So there is that kind of tone, um, which I can't see show Benedict being so nonchalant about it and just feeling like, oh, I guess, like, I know that I have to. It's the right thing to do. And there's a point where or even earlier, he says something like, I wish, something like his mother had taught him good manners, but sometimes, like, I'm paraphrasing, sometimes he wishes that she hadn't, because then he could just leave without saying goodbye. So he just seems to be doing a lot of things just because, like, he knows that he has to. So, yeah, I can get that tone could creep up and peak at this moment. So I hear you. I hear you.
Well, and I think it's important to like always remember that I believe that criticism is an act of love. Like, criticism from a place of love is an act of love. Like, when you look at something that you truly appreciate, you truly enjoy, you truly think is an incredible piece of whatever that is, literature, TV, whatever, and you come from a place of constructive criticism, I think that that's really beautiful. And I think that that's an important thing to remember as you dive into a book and as you dive into, a show, that like nothing is perfect and that's okay. And I think that when we come from a place of wanting it to be good, wanting it to be better, and coming at it from love, I think it's important to be able to say when we don't like something. I think it's good. So,
Yeah. And the reason you are diving into it is because you loved it in the first place. So there's nothing wrong with that. I totally agree. But on a brighter note, I think there are some really nice moments that kind of allude back to what you were saying about the last episode about the whole like Shakespearean idea that like you can feel something that you may never have known before, but you get like this weird sensation and you can just feel it in your bones kind of thing. And there is a moment here where Benedict gets a really good look at Sophie and he's like, he had the oddest sensation that they had met before. He says this on 113. And yeah, so that's sweet. There's kind of like that romance. She references him as his Prince Charming in this chapter. So there's some like fairy tale esque moments in here. So if we can just stick with that, that would be nice. But yeah, so there are some good points.
But he's a badass, and when he says, when Philip says, "You'll be sorry you did this," and he says, "I doubt it, now get out of my sight," I highlighted that because I was like, that's a great line. I
I
doubt
need
it.
those lines. I just need Benedict to be like, big talk, no action, you know? I'll fight you. I can take you. But like he can't. And
Right,
he
like you and
won't.
what army?
Yeah, exactly. And I just yeah, just like I need like burns, you know?
Right. So here's what I've decided it needs to be in the show. It
Okay.
needs to be that like she's gonna get robbed. And he comes in like an avenging hero, like Zorro, and be like, "I'm gonna save you," of whatever. And then she just like pulls like brass knuckles out of her reticule or whatever, and she's like, "Bam!" Like, I got this. Like, so he can still be hero and he can have badass lines and he can have every intention, but also she's like, "I got this."
Oh my god. So I so need that. I love the Zorro reference too, because that's clearly his vibe of the masquerade. So towards the end of the chapter on 116, we kind of get this moment where, the dust is settling a little bit because they've moved. Sorry,
Oh,
3-3. um,
okay.
okay, so towards the end of this chapter on 116, they've kind of moved on from Philip Cavender. They're moving away. They're getting out of there. And this is kind of the moment where Sophie's like, okay, is he going to recognize me? And it's almost like she has this little glimmer of hope again that she hasn't allowed herself to have since she was a child. And then suddenly it all hits her all at once. She's like, and I love this on 117 where she goes, this was 2 years ago, basically. Half my face was covered. She had like powdered hair. She hasn't eaten the way she has 2 years ago, so she's lost weight. And at the very, very base of it, they were together for like an hour and a half. So she's like, yeah, how could he? How could he remember me? And that's kind of how the chapter ends. And it's really heartbreaking when she says she didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. Like her night wasn't bad enough already.
Yeah. Well, it's that sense too that I think carries through the whole thing of like when it's still a fantasy, when it's still a dream, it can't really break your heart. And so she's let that exist still as kind of distant from her because she'd rather have the fantasy than risk the reality crashing down around her ears. So it's sad, but it's relatable.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like the theme of like her dreams is going to continue into chapter 7 a lot, because she talks a lot about how he's only ever existed in her dreams and like he's been this perfect person to her, but and how is it possible that suddenly she's in this situation and then like she says on 119 that her Prince Charming had finally come to rescue her and he didn't even know who she was. And it's like really devastating because when you're just dreaming something for so long, you almost don't want it to be true because then it's no longer a dream. So she's kind of in this moment where it's like it's over and now what do I do? And it's really interesting how she immediately goes into this mode of like it's never going to work. Because on 120 she says she was a housemaid, not a glorious woman of the ton. They had nothing in common. But literally, no, you had everything in common that night. Everything that they talks about that night, and they fell for each other because of things that had nothing to do with their status. So she's really quick to like self-sabotage herself and be like, yeah, it's just I'm a housemaid, so yeah, this was never gonna work anyway. We have nothing to talk about now that I'm just a housemaid. And it's like, it's, yeah, she's just being really hard on herself. So it's a tough reality for her, but like you said, she's just at the beginning, so.
Well, and I think it's interesting too because right below that, she says people saw what they expected to see,
Mm-hmm.
and she's talking about that as like why Benedict doesn't recognize her. But I think it's interesting because I think it also communicates her own blindness to that something might be real between her and Benedict because people see
Mm-hmm.
what they expect to see. So she assumes that he is not going to be able to or want to have anything more with her because she's a maid, because she's a bastard. So she also is locked in to the version of reality that she sees. So
Mm.
she's kind of prophetic about herself in that moment.
Very interesting. Yeah, I highlighted that too because it's such a great quote. But yeah, she is really locked into that expectation of herself. So, um, yeah, it's very interesting. And yeah, she just continues. It's a lot of like internal thoughts on these first few pages of the chapter when she says on 121 like why should one masquerade ball stand out or why should one masquerade stand out in his memory? Well, cuz listen, he met the lady in silver. That's something. But she's just there thinking that was just another night for him. So it's a long carriage ride to my cottage because she's just thinking, overthinking. Classic anxiety, overthinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's raining also the whole time. And it's funny because Benedict almost has it. Like he almost figures it out. Like he's like looking at her. He's like, "Gosh, she looks familiar. Like, have we met before?" Like it sounds like a line, but it's literally not. He's like, "Man, she sounds familiar," which is interesting because like her voice really stands out to him consistently throughout these chapters. But he doesn't have it. Also, maybe we can give him the break because he's a little sick and he's getting worse. So.
He's getting increasingly worse. He just shouldn't have gone to a party if he was recovering from a head cold, but that's just the mom in me. Tisk Benedict Bridgerton. Come on. The conversation that they're having amidst like all these deep internal thoughts is very surface level, like have we met before, everything, but then they get into like the deep stuff, which is the triggering stuff where she's like basically I don't know if I remember to thank you, and he's like, "Oh, it's nothing." And she's like, "Well, it was everything to me." So there's literal pathetic fallacy, which basically means that it's it's a natural phenomenon that is mirroring a human emotion. So when there's a thunderstorm, it's usually going to reflect what the character in the story is feeling, kind of situation. So with the literal storm happening above them, they're kind of in battle with, you know, what just happened. Sophie was in this awful situation. Now they're stuck in a storm and now they're trying to find, you know, where they're going. So there's kind of like all of this happening, and then they kind of get into talking about like that was a really scary thing that I just went through, and he, you know, they have to talk about it because they just went through something pretty crazy. So
Oh my gosh. I love that. I've never heard that term before. Like, that's so fascinating. I love that. Well, and we get to learn a lot about Benedict's last couple of years in these pages, where he's talking about how for several months he was really heavily, devotedly looking for her. Like he says, he'd watched for her at every ball, party, and musicale he attended. Hell, he attended twice as many functions as usual, just in the hopes that he'd catch a glimpse of her. And I feel like that's the piece that we will have to see in the season, and that maybe we could not have the rest of it where he's kind of waned a little bit and hasn't been as actively looking for her, though he's still like every party he walks into he's going to scan for her. But I think it just shows how on his mind she is and how she's just never left, so he's still got those feelings.
yeah. And I think that that's going to be such an easy thing for them to do in season 4 because from the get go, Benedict's like, ugh, I don't want to go to a ball. Like, I don't want to, like, court anybody, and then suddenly, I think after this masquerade ball, one ball which he didn't even want to go to in the first place, then it's just going to be like he's going to want to be at every party, and he's going to be like, what's this? When's this party? Okay, I'll be there. And it's just going to, yeah, it's just going to be obvious that he's going there for a reason. And if he, like you said, like wanes off of it and but still kind of scans the room, it's going to be like a special kind of heartbreaking, because at the end actually of 127, he says he he kept hoping and wishing and watching, and then at the end it says, because what if he puts his ring on some woman's finger, but the next day he saw her? I mean, that's it. That's the exact reason why he can't move on. And I feel that.
Yeah, and it is. Obviously, I love an Anthony Bridgerton style yearning, but that put me so much in mind of, like, which again, I was just talking with one of my friends about this, but I'm like, we moved on too fast from Anthony Bridgerton telling Kate Anthony that is the most, like, gentleman, I hold myself in leash all the time, I don't even touch my fiance. Him looking this woman dead in the face and being like, if you make me marry your sister, at some point in that marriage, I will cheat on her with you. Like, the fact that he just dead ass looks her in the eye and says, we moved on too quickly. Like,
So true.
I was like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, I need some air. Like,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, Benedict is kind of saying something really similar in that moment where he's
Yeah.
like, what if I marry somebody else and then see the love of my life? And it's like, well, fuck.
Yeah. It's true. And yes, we did move on from that way too quickly. It was too much in passing.
Yeah.
Because,
Like,
yeah, that's intense. Anthony Bridgerton.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
everybody's so fixated on the bane of my existence line, which is a great line. But I was
Hmm.
like, no. I was like, I had other lines in that speech that got me. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I hear
but
that.
yeah, I also really loved when on 128 Benedict says he just couldn't stop from looking. It had become, in a very strange way, a part of who he was.
Mhm.
His name was Benedict Bridgerton. He had 7 brothers and sisters, was rather skilled with a bow, with both a sword and a sketching crayon, and he always kept his eyes open for the one woman who had touched his soul. And there goes my heart.
And he's such a poetic guy. And, like, that's just what you read. Like, he's he kind of makes me think of, like, how Penelope's like, I kind of want to get married for love. It's just like suddenly he's like, I kind of want this. If I'm going to do this, it needs to be for something that I can't just get anywhere else. So I kind of love that he embraces that side of him, because it's okay. It's okay for him to feel that way. And I thought that there was another really sweet part on 130 where he's like, out of nowhere, he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. Why should you think something is wrong? And he's like, you sighed. And she's like, you heard me over the wind? And he's like, I've been paying close attention. What? So sweet. He's so sweet.
Yeah, well, they're already so bonded, like from so little. Um, and then we get into some more humor because the air quotes cottage, that's a mansion, is all locked up and dark. And then they're running through the rain, which I loved the moment, I can't find it, but when Benedict is like, race you to the door. Like, dude, you're practically on death's door.
You're racing to the grave. Whatever. Not the time. Oh, yeah, it's so endearing for sure. And even like that little part where he's like, it's my cottage. She's like, I might have known. He's like, no, I'm serious. It's called my cottage. Like, it's so cute. Can't wait for that.
So cute. And I love too that they're able to have both the laughter, but then also the tears that he's able to come. This is the most like show Benedict I feel like this Benedict has been, of where he just holds her and comforts her while she cries. I'm like, this is our Benny. This is who like this is my love.
Yeah, I didn't even like highlight anything. I just like squared off that whole section that starts at the end of 131 and then into 132, where she's literally like, adrenaline is gone and she's just like, oh, she just lets it go and he just wants her to and he's just there for her. Oh, it's so sweet. And I feel like that moment does have to happen. And that moment, it's just like a rush of everything that she hasn't ever been able to release. She's never had a person to release to. And it's when she says on 132, he was so damn nice. She hadn't let herself cry in longer than she could remember. And then all that with he doesn't recognize her. Like, it's just a tipping point. So, but he's still there for her, and it's really sweet.
Yeah, it is. One that he's that person with everybody, whether or not she is the woman, or he knows she's the woman he fell in love with or not. Like that's always a thing. So it's who he is. We love that.
We do. And then towards the end of the chapter, and this is where I had a
Does
little bit
Rain
of
also
a.
have a bunch of question marks? Because I also have a question mark.
I said, do we like this?
No, we do not, Deborah. We do not.
I literally, this is the moment I talked about earlier that I was like, that's the moment where I'm like, no, no, I was raging. And, okay, she was almost just raped. Okay? And now she's suddenly alone in this house that he assured her she would be chaperoned in. But now suddenly, oh, I don't know where the caretakers are. They're not here. And now they're alone in a house. And she's like, we're alone. And he's like, completely. And she's like, I better find the servants' quarters. Oh, no, you won't. Grabbing a hold of her arm. I won't? He shook his head. You, dear girl, aren't going anywhere. No. Just, it's a no for me. And Benedict, show Benedict would never.
No, it's atrocious.
It's awful.
I try and like I'm like 2001 was a different time. 2001 was a different time. Like I try to like I feel like it's funny because it feels like it shouldn't be that different. But like I don't understand. I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic of it of writing that as your main guy. I don't get it because it's extremely off-putting to say the least. So I don't know.
And it's contradicting to what we just finished, like, praising him for. Him being this comfort, this strong, like, vulnerable guy, but now he's like, you're not going anywhere? What? Why? But, and that's the thing. Why? And then I also say, why do we like this? It's just, we never circle back to it. It's almost like it's planted there just for suspense. Like, sexy suspense. But, like, I think that's just scary, so I don't know.
No, I
Not my
agree.
favorite end of episode. I'll just
No.
say.
No, and I think that there's like this weird sense that went through a lot of romance novels for a long time and is a long history of that. Is that like that there's apparently something sexy about the idea that a guy could make you do something, but like he won't. And I'm like, not though. The only reason that that's been convinced that women have been made to be convinced that that's sexy is because they've we have like society gaslighting and abusing us as a whole. So like no, like that's not good. And like and again, which okay, I'll soapbox for a minute. So I love a dark romance. Like I love a story with a sketchy guy and all the things like that's fine. Because I feel like that exists in a separate reality because it's extremely intentional. Where it's like you go in and you say, all right, we're gonna have these behaviors that are going, it's like role play in sex. Hi, well, I'm going to get very specific with this, but it's like about reclaiming your trauma through having control over situations that have caused you pain in the past. So when you have the control over it and it's a specifically geared like sexual fantasy, whether that's in dark romance or whatever, that's great. I'm all for that. That's fantastic because it's controlled and it's specific and it's intentional. This is normalizing sketchy behavior in a way that I don't love. And I think that that's why we have to be, and we are more cognizant now of that in romance shows, in romance novels, and I think we should be. And it's good to be able to look back at our previous media and to say, hey, not cool, we don't like that. And in new versions of that, they need to fix it. So that's my soapbox.
I love
I
it.
don't know.
It's extremely on point. Chapter 8.
Yeah. So great.
Chapter 8. The Smythe Smiths are mentioned.
Yes.
Honestly, I highlighted that if only because if I'm a writer, I'm a Shondaland writer in Bridgerton season 4, I'm like, I've been seeing this name a lot. Maybe I'm doing something about it. I don't know, I'm just going to say that. Okay? So that's my highlight for chapter 8, page 1.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, then we move into they're building a fire, which I don't know why that excites me. Maybe because we saw them lighting a fire in the like BTS video, and I'm just like, whoa, we've seen something. But anyways, that's fine. It's just a candle. It's okay. But they're trying to light a fire because Benedict is essentially dying. And cue the music "Faithfully" by Journey playing over top this whole chapter because it has to. Um, because now they're soaking wet, and they're like, "We need a change." And she's like, "I gotta go just dry off by the fire." And he's like, "You could wear some men's clothes. You're fine." So I find that so sexy. Like when you wear like a man's clothing, like, yeah, do it. Go girl. And she doesn't hesitate. So she just goes and she gets changed, and at the same time she's having a peek around, and she's realizing that he probably spends more time here than a normal gentleman of his age would, because he's got some personal belongings hanging around, and she's not snooping. So she's just getting a feel for things.
Yeah, and I love that for her. Because especially since she comes upon the just so sweet, the bowl of rocks that are
Yeah.
so significant. Like, how adorable is a guy that collects rocks and that keeps a hold of them his whole
Mm-hmm.
life. It's just, it's precious and I love it. It's such a perfect little symbol for him.
Mm-hmm. And I just love that he picked some of those up on a hike the day that his father died. So it's meaningful, it's sweet, it's endearing. It's, some place where they can find common ground, because she never knew her mom, in the books anyway. And, it's, it's kind of sweet that he has these little quirks. But then things take a drastic turn where, like, then he becomes essentially belligerent. He's losing his mind. He's literally in like the like the depths of a fever dream. Like, he's losing it. He's like drunk without having had a drink. So it's like part scary but part like hilarious at the same time, which
Oh, yeah.
we need that lightheartedness. It's Benedict's season. We need a laugh. So, poor guy, he's not doing well.
No. And that's what his delirium is funny. And the whole time I was reading this, I fully was picturing Luke Thompson delivering these lines because he's gonna kill it. Of him just being like I sleep naked. Like, okay, like what the hell?
Suddenly, why is my shirt undone? Like, bro, it's giving like a high Benedict at the dinner table in season 2. He's
Yes,
setting it up. So funny.
So it's so funny too. As I was reading this, I realized because obviously Bridgerton has been such an influence on my own writing, but like I do a thing that's not the popular thing with books now, where I do like third person omniscient, but like a limited omniscient for the narrators, where you can hear what is in my two main characters' thoughts all the time. They're the
Mm.
only ones that you can hear from, but I don't switch perspectives really. I don't go like, this is a Benedict chapter and this is a Sophie chapter, right? Like I do, like you can hear whatever everybody thinks. And that was like a really common way to do novels through like a lot of history. Like like this is written like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like not super common, and I didn't know why I wrote like that necessarily. And then I read this and I like noticed it and I was like, "Oh right, cuz Bridgerton was my like little entry into romance novels." And I was like, that's such a fun, I don't know, connection that I was like, I have this connection to Julia Quinn and I write like they used to write in romance novels and so does she. And I was like, anyway, so that made me
I
happy
love
cuz we get
that.
to hop in back and forth from their heads, and I think it's delightful that we get to hear both sides
Yes.
of their thought process as they go
Yes.
through this.
Yes. Exactly. And we spent basically the whole first part of the book where it feels like it's chapter this, chapter Sophie's, chapter Benedict, you know? So it's nice to finally get an in to both their perspectives, and it gives that sense of like suspense, whether it's romantic or it's like stressful, but it's like it's really great to build anticipation. So I love that you do that too.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, hey babe, sorry I'm recording. I know, I'm watching the score. I'm stressed. Cass knows this. The most Canadian couple moment ever. You've just
I
witnessed
love it so much. A guest appearance on the pod to talk about
it.
the
Tell me
score of the
about the
hockey game.
score. He just got back from work. That's why he doesn't know what I'm doing.
Oh, gotcha.
He just cracked open a beer. I just heard him. Stressful times, Cass. We're in overtime right now.
Oh my gosh, that is so stressful.
It is stressful. Um,
Um,
what were we talking about before my husband interrupted?
okay. Oh, so yeah, so Sophie finally gets him into bed. She gets herself ready for bed.
Sorry, it's just
Yes,
the way you said Sophie finally gets him into bed.
it does sound slightly like lascivious, but yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she
Okay,
finally gets
so
him into bed. She gets him naked.
Sophie finally puts him to bed as her patient. And then finally gets herself to bed, and it doesn't take her very long. She's flippin' exhausted, poor girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, noting that connection that they have, that's almost like supernatural, sounds like they're ghosts, but like extra, like more than what you would expect from like just normal people. That she has this connection to him. She wakes up in the dead of night and is like, something's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. I don't know what I heard, but something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Scary. Scary.
Yeah.
And like that feeling where like she's suddenly like, uh, I fell asleep. I should still be sleeping because I'm fucking tired. Why am I awake? I must have heard something. Like that's intense. And then yeah, she finds him like he is like delirious and he's having like nightmares. He's freaking out. He's so sick. And then she's trying to like comfort him and say like you're just dreaming, it's okay, like you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, but he's asking her to kiss him, which is interesting. I don't know that when I'm in like a massive fever sleep that I'm thinking please somebody kiss me. But sure.
But I think it's interesting because I think his unconscious mind recognizes that she is the lady in silver, because he says that later, but like, why was I dreaming about the lady in silver all of a sudden when I haven't had that dream for a while? And it's like, gee,
Mm.
I wonder why, Benedict. I also did think it was weird. I'm like, I understand he's in a fever, but like, why is he so aggressive? Like, why is Benedict written so aggressive? Like, he's like, kiss me, goddammit. I'm like, calm down, sir. Like,
What are your dreams about? Like,
it's
Sophie's dreaming about a really gentle Benedict, and they're like having kids, and they're like, there's like this sweet scent of perfume, and he's like, kiss me. Okay, okay, whatever. But then she's like, an opportunity presents itself to kiss Benedict Bridgerton. I guess you take it. And she did.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, she does. I don't know why I missed that. Okay. I don't know what I thought. I think I was focused on the next line because I highlighted the next line of the "I love you," she whispered. "I've always loved you." Okay. PSA here, Sophie. Please don't kiss someone when they're not conscious. Like, what is this, people? Like, guys, this is not good. Neither of you are behaving correctly. Fuck.
What are you both doing? What are you both doing? I thought you were gonna say he's sick. Don't kiss him.
Well, that's true too. But also, like, that's not consent. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but that's not what that is. Like,
Oh my god, so funny. Spoiler alert, she kissed him.
well, apparently I just skimmed over that somehow. I don't know. I got caught up on the "I love you" because I was like, I got all excited. I think I literally just skipped that line because I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, she's saying she loves him, which is wild. And we got both, like, love sides. I mean, Benedict hasn't said "I love you" yet, but his mom is like, oh, it's nice to see you in love. And then, like, a couple chapters later, it's like, oh, Sophie's in love. So this couple's just in love with each other, and it's
It's
chapter
just
8.
very lovely. Very hopeless romantic-esque. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's the fever dream.
Yeah.
And
So I
yeah.
also noted on 148, she says, when she's like sponging him off with like water, she says she certainly wasn't going to allow the bedsheet to drift any lower than his waist unless the poor man was at death's door. And even then, she wasn't certain what she could possibly do down there that would resurrect him. And my note was, Dr. Claire Fraser, she is not, because Claire gives the hand job of life to Jamie in season 5 of Outlander. So
Yeah, then it continues on into just, I guess, her nursing him back to health.
yeah, and so in the middle of all of this caretaking, as we hear the instrumental version of Faithfully playing, um, I definitely,
Of course.
so Sophie picks up Benedict's sketchbook and is casually leafing through, and she's seeing like all of these scenes, and I love the little note of he drew them playing Pall Mall, and it's just adorable. And then huge moment. So I have the line highlighted. Good God, Sophie gasped, thunderstruck. It was her. So she discovers the art that he has made, the drawing of her,
Hmm.
of the lady in silver, because she's always been on his mind. It's just so romantic.
So she spent the better half of the last chapter just being like, oh, it's just another ball. Like, he would never remember me. And now she's faced with, like, not only does he remember that night, but, like, he's daydreaming about it. And, like, that's, like, monumental for her, which I think is really cute. And even for like
Right.
show Benedict, it could be really nice to see like maybe this is the first time that we see him drawing again. There could be a lot to do with this, discovery.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be really significant when we finally get him to pick up a pencil again. Let's dive in with chapter 9 and a very startling beginning.
So yes, a very startling beginning because she fell asleep in a chair beside Benedict in his room, and then out of nowhere she hears Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree come home to catch her in such a compromising position. I love it.
And wearing Benedict's clothes, no less. So,
We love that. We love that kind of what a way to meet. What a way to meet them. But yeah, they initially are like really thrown to see her, but um yeah, it's just kind of I can see this being a super chaotic moment of humor more than anything of it being like, oh shit, like, oh my god, like there could be a really good comedic relief here, which I really hope for, because then there's a lot of like fun banter back and forth where it's like, you get her this, okay, well then you don't like how she looks, well then figure it out. Like, I'm doing my best here, guys. Like, it's just, I could see Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree really uh, not putting up with Benedict's shit, but also like putting him in his place, kind of like another set of parents or something. So it could be really fun.
Yeah. It's very chaotic and zany and just yeah, and just very fun. Like, I mean, you get random lines of like, I don't know what she looks like, and like, it's just kind of funny. Where and Sophie also exists in this weird middle space throughout this whole thing, where she's not really a guest, but she's definitely not a servant. And so, like, what exactly is she? Because again, this is the definition of Sophie, where she doesn't really fit in either world. So it's posing an interesting little problem for her and an interesting little development for Benedict because I also thought that on 160. I was like, dude, pretty sure you still have a fever. And he's like, he gulped uncomfortably when he realized the tight sensation might very well be desire. And I'm like, dude, calm down. Like, you probably are still sticky and clammy from all of the sweat the night before. Chill.
Oh, out. Chill out. Oh god, that's so funny. But like, I really like what you just said though. Like, I want to circle back to that because like, it feels like at my cottage is where she realizes that she can be the truest version of herself, which is in the middle with Benedict. You know, she's not a servant in that house, but she's also not like the lady of the house, but she can still find comfort and like play jokes and, snack on the same snack tray with Benedict, like all these little things that are super super sweet where she can kind of for just like a split second she can like picture it, which is probably really scary for her, but as somebody, as the audience, we're kind of like, yeah, keep going, girl, it's gonna be good, just yeah, embrace it. So it's sweet, it's really cute.
Yeah, and so that reminds me of a note that I actually accidentally skipped, but back in chapter 8 on 151, I noticed I think Sophie is the only other character to say the words or even to think the words my cottage. Like, I think that nobody else refers to it as that, and it's like, right, because it's also her cottage. Like, it is my cottage, even to Sophie. Like, it's not yet, but it will be, and it'll be her home. And so it's my cottage to both of them.
So cute, so cute. I love that so much. And she's really making it like feel like home. And it's sweet too how Mrs. Crabtree like there's no like fuss with Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree being like, no, we shouldn't be treating her like a guest because we know that she's actually lower class or whatever it may be. Um, which is kind of a trope in some of these period dramas where like even if you think of Downton Abbey, there's places where they won't even talk to the maid when she's upstairs as this person who's now educated like along the line. They'll be like, no, she's still a maid, I'm not going to wait on her, I'm not going to take her orders because I used to be her boss, kind of situation. So it's nice that there's none of that with the Crabtrees. It's just they're like, you know what? I bet you never had a break before. You enjoy this, which is really, really sweet.
Yeah, it is. Well, and that's on 164. Mrs. Crabtree says, I like young Sophie. May we keep her? Like, she's a stray kitten. Like, may we keep her? Like, oh.
So cute. It's so cute. And he's kind of like, I'll think about it. So he's just like, where do I want to place her? Like, should I keep her here? Like, or should I give her to my mom? And it's just like, he's dealing with all these new feelings right now because, yeah, he's confused at best.
Well, and and it's here, it's on 162 that I was kind of talking about, but he's talking about having the dreams, and it's been months of dormancy that he hasn't dreamt about the Lady in Silver. And then he says was there something about Sophie that triggered it? And I'm like, Benedict, you're so close. So close, man.
Come
Just
on, dude.
next step. Like, I know you're sick, but next step, intellectual leap there for me. But he doesn't make it.
He does make it. Instead, they have a little cutesy little fight between each other, which I think starts on 167. Is it 167? I mean, they're just like besting each other with like their sass, which I kind of love. And he's like, "Are you gonna throw that fork?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna throw a fork. I'm gonna throw a fucking candlestick at you because you're being a dick." And he's just like, it. It's just so endearing, this banter, and she doesn't even recognize the way she's behaving, but she's just following her gut, and it's really sweet.
And I love the line on 170 where she says, "Are you this charming with everyone or only me?" Because he's literally Prince Charming, and she is called like he is her Prince Charming, but she's doing it on this flip side where this is the real Benedict and the real her. They're not the fantasy versions of each other that they met at the masquerade, because like those versions fell in love, but now the real versions, the grounded versions, the everyday experiences versions of Benedict and Sophie also have to fall in love. And that's what's so perfect, is that when finally they get together and the two halves come together, where it's like, oh my gosh, both versions of ourselves have fallen in love with each other. It's just
Spoiler! Oh, yeah, it's so sweet. Oh, I feel like I said it's so sweet like a million times, but it just is. It just is. And then suddenly we're at chapter 10.
oh my gosh.
Which I cannot believe. And, well, I mean, we haven't finished the chapter yet, but, like, I can't believe that's where we stopped.
I know.
Okay, let's get to it because I want to talk about it.
Yep. Okay, so I did like the line a lot on 175, and I think it makes Benedict and his attraction to Sophie make a lot of sense too. Is when he says he likes her far better when she was spitting fire than when she was meek and submissive. And I think that's going to be so significant to Sophie because she has spent years and years swallowing her feelings and having to grin and bear it and just not speak up for herself, not express her desires or her negative emotions in any way, and that Benedict loves when she hits him with all of her everything, I think is so significant to why it's such a good match for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's a lot of cute little classic romantic moments where he's just kind of like suddenly feeling all confused and like just flustered because she's like reaching for like a biscuit that's like on the tray on his lap, and he's like, oh my god, it's like so close to my lap, and he's just like, why do I feel like this? And it's just like it's so cute, it's so freaking cute. And I can't wait to see him like slowly realize these little things that are happening and their like banter, and that he's like, whoa, why do I feel the way that I feel? And if yeah, it's cute.
So I called it Benedict Bridgerton and the badly timed boners because this dude, I am like, man, why does this keep happening?
Like, come on, dude, get it together. Just, but it overcomes him, so
Yeah.
can't blame a guy, right?
No,
So
not at
close
all.
to
And
his
I love
groin.
that. Exactly. On 177, he says, but in that moment with this woman, it became urgent. And I love that, where it's this sense of it's not just casual desire. It is like he doesn't just need a roll in the hay. It's this woman, this situation, and suddenly it's acute and he has to have her or he might die. And like that's what I like from my men, is this level of desperation. I like that. I like them fucked up for love. So let's go.
Exactly. Fucked up for love, confused beyond repair. That is just how we like it. So I made a note here, and I won. He was yelling, "Why? What happened?" Oh, he's coming down. What happened? What happened? What?
Winner.
Oh, yes!
Did you guys win?
Yes!
Yay!
Yay! Okay. Okay, my note. Okay, so my note here is I wonder if instead of the tray, the biscuit situation, will we have a meeting in a staircase that will be like, because we know there's a staircase coming. And I feel like you once said that maybe something happens in the staircase and then he needs like a cold swim and that's when the lake scene goes. So what if there's like a meeting in the staircase and it's like it gets intense and it's like I need to use a chamber pot, and then there's like that moment of funniness, and then that's when it leads into I need to go for a swim kind of thing. But what if the staircase part is here? Because I don't know if they're referencing the staircase as something like hot and heavy. Maybe it could be the first moment where he's like, "Whoa, I don't know what to
I
do."
love
You know?
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, what if it's because the servant stairs at my cottage for some reason it's like super narrow, and they're like trying to like pass each other, and she's all like wiggly and whatever. They're like stuck, and he's like, "Oh my god, like chamber pot, please."
Yeah. Exactly. I need that to be like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Bye. I would love that so much. And then it's so funny, like how it goes on after whatever the moment will be. Is she's like off and she's like, well, fuck, if he needed the chamber pot, like I could have just gotten it for him. Like, why is he being like that? Like, and she's so oblivious that he just like had a full on boner. Basically, she's just kind of like, I don't get it. Like, I thought we were having a nice conversation, but whatever. you know? And it just, yeah, that she has a cute little interaction with Mrs. Crabtree, which is sweet.
Yeah, and also I feel like Mrs. Crabtree, like, can you let the man alone for a couple minutes? Like maybe he needs to take care of some business that you need to not be involved in. Like, oh my
Like,
gosh.
come on, girl. Read the room. Read the room.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I mean, bless her heart. Overbearing.
Oh
She
yeah.
kind of gives that, so I feel like it's on point. It's in character. And yeah, it's just funny how like on 181 she's like, But he's ill." Like what why isn't he like where is he? Like she's just pissed that he's not taking care of himself. And it's true though, like bro almost died and he's like, I'm going to go for a swim. You're not listening to your body at all. But whatever.
Well, and it's interesting too, though, because it's like he's like Sophie has that suspicion. She says that he's malingering on purpose, like that he's hanging out there and not showing that he's better.
Hmm.
And I don't know that Benedict even really quite knows that he's doing that. Oh, excuse me. I don't know that Benedict really even for sure knows that he's doing that. Because I think he just wants to prolong this time with Sophie, and that this is the special little moment. And so he's like, yeah, let's keep a hold of that. Well, and then on 185, I just thought this line was so interesting and like could be the tagline for Bridgerton, where Sophie says, "But where reputations are at stake, appearance is just as important as fact." Like that's Bridgerton in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that line. That line is, yeah, basically Bridgerton. And I love that now she is on a walk and she stumbles across a naked man, a naked Benedict? Dun, dun, dun. They just have this gravitational pull to each other, and now he's naked in a lake. So, oh, girl is in for a treat. And I can't
And
believe that's
that
where we're ending.
craziness,
Craziness.
craziness.
It's like so much happens in this part because I'm like, wow, we did my cottage. We're already at the lake scene. What the heck happens in the back half of this book? I forget. Like, where is this going? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Violet Bridgerton's house.
Right.
But yeah, a lot. It's full throttle is really the expression for this story, this book, and this show, this season. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I think my guess for where this is going to land is I think this will land us at the end of episode 3 because episode 3 tends to be that like linchpin turning point where somebody has a realization about the person. So like Anthony and Kate have the panic attack B scene, and that's clearly a change for them. Penelope and Colin have Colin looking at her panicked after he talks to his mom about like, you know, about friendship and whatever, and he's looking at her and being like, oh my gosh, and having the jealousy and things, and that's a big shift for him. So here, I feel like this is end of episode 3. That's going to be my guess for when we'll get the lake scene. Yeah.
Be sure to join us next week, and we will do chapters 11 to 15. And the lake scene is all I have to say. So do join us. Follow us on the pod, rationalromantics.pod. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Can't wait.